and you are good to go. Good. Good evening. Oh, I got to tap it, right? Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Toastmasters, and I will be your certain exams for this meeting. So, first of all, welcome to the meetings. Before we kick off, let me tell you something about this club, I guess, and let me tell you some rules. This is Toastmasters Club, where we encourage people to learn public speaking and network with good individuals. And in the end, develop much more and gain a lot of confidence. We provide a proper environment for everyone to do that. And before we start, let me tell you some of the rules. Discussions on sex, religion, and politics, as well as mentions of our institution are strictly proper. Let's maintain a professional tone throughout and avoid any swearing or offensive language. And then a reminder, please avoid cross talk during the sessions. And if you want to leave the room or enter the room, just wait until the speaker stops speech and then do it. For our speakers, please keep an eye on the timers and they will explain you what to do. And please be aware, do not take much time, which will eventually lead to time disqualifications and then eventually end up make the meeting and they'll late expected. Without further ado, let us start the meeting. Now I hand over the meeting to both Master Vishwa, our president. He is our deputy MD, so thank you for introducing the meeting and the presiding officer. Welcome everyone to meeting number 335. Thank you for taking time out of a very busy schedule to join us for this meeting. We have a very wonderful team turning the tables. Seems apt today since we'll be flipping the script a bit today. So we'll be having our notified speakers and we'll also be following the section by Mr. Roshni. So before we begin the meeting, we have a couple of guests with us, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce them. To the guests, if you could introduce yourself and fun fact. Stand with you. Thank you, John. Okay. Yes. Maybe that's the one, but you don't thank you, John. And what part of the message is that I think that is something short of I don't believe in the standard. What do you want to do? Thank you for get the man. Fact is, it's like us meeting and get back me to solution. Right, cool. Thank you for that. I hope you have fun. Thank you for joining. All right. Further, let's jump right into the meeting, starting with the topic session. I now hand over control to our general evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Aditya. Okay, before I begin, one word of note, everyone hold your hands like this, please, and do this. There are only two rules when we have coming on stage. When someone is approaching the stage, please clap, encourage it to speak, and shake their hand. It's a formality that we like to exercise. Now, everyone, I will be your general evaluator for the day. And as the name suggests, I will take care of the meeting flow. I will be judging the entire meeting on its merits and how we perform. Now, it's quite an arduous task to perform alone. So I'm not alone. I have a team of lovely people to help me, that tag me. And I'd like to start with our timer. Goes on. Again, people. Hello everyone, I am Toastmaster Veda and I'll be a timer for the timer for the day. So what is my role? Yes, as its name suggests, is to make sure that all of us are on time. So I'll be using these cards to indicate that they are kind of like traffic signals. So I'll be for the prepared speakers, I'll be showing you red green card at 5 minutes, the yellow card at
6 minutes, and the green card at 7 minutes. For the table topic session, I'll be showing the green card at 1 minute, the yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, the red card at 2 minutes. And for the individual evaluator, I'll be showing the green card at 2 minutes, the yellow card at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and the green card at red card at 3 minutes. So that's be all, and we also have 30 minutes, 30 seconds of buffer time, that is 30 minutes before the given time and 30 minutes after the 30 seconds. 30 seconds of buffer time, after which you will get disqualified. That's be all, back to the general evaluation.
Thank you, Toastmaster Veda. I would like to now introduce our content of the day, Toastmaster Subhashini.
Good evening, everyone. I am Roshni, and I will be your author for today. Now, when we speak, we tend to have a lot of filler words. Maybe we forget what we meant to say, and you end up saying well, so like it's a lot of fillers we tend to use, and it is important that for clear communication, you don't have these fillers. So, in order to improve, I will be keeping note of every single person's use of filler words today, and it's okay there are a lot of fillers. With that, I'd like to pass over control to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Vidya.
And now to call upon another Aditya, I'd like to call upon our very Toastmaster.
Good evening, everyone. Today, I'm Toastmaster Aditya Sitaraman, and I'll be your grammarian for the day. As the grammarian, it is my duty to note down flamboyant uses of grammar and also to point out any grammatical mistakes speakers might make. This exercise is for everybody's improvement. The grammarian's duty is also to introduce the word of the day, which happens to be vindication. An example of the usage of this word would be I don't know an example. Donald Trump was finally vindicated when he was elected again, re-elected as president. People who use the word of the day, they get a shout out from me at the end of the meeting where I present my general. Then back to the value. Thank you.
All right, without further ado, our theme is turning the tables, and we are turning the entire script today because okay, we are. Are we doing yes, okay, we are going to continue with our prepared speech session. And for our first prepared speaker, we have Toastmaster Sean. I'm going to call Toastmaster Sean's individual manager.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So, I'm Toastmaster Ishita, and I will be Toastmaster Sean's individual evaluator. So, Toastmaster Sean, in one of the previous meetings, had finished his L1P4 Part 1. So, L1P4 is a project that is divided into 3 parts. The first part is to basically deliver a speech and get evaluated by a general individual evaluator, and you'll be basically implementing the feedback into your next speech, that is in L1P4 Part 2. So today, Toastmaster Sean will be attempting his L1P4 part, which he will be trying to implement the feedback that he received in his previous speech. So with that, I would like to wish Mr. Sean all the very best, and back to the general.
So without further ado, let us continue. Toastmaster Sean going bananas. Give me a second. I was asked the audience, and I know where we do. All right. I'm not ready. Before we start, thank you for pronouncing my speech title properly. Not bananas on I should. Thank you for that. All right. Before I start my speech, I'm going to ask you guys a question. What is your favorite food? Oh, yes. You can just sit there and say that's like watermelon. I should like sitting on this Russian mango, slush. Just to this. Okay, I understand why, but very, very unusual choice. Okay, so let's take a moment. This is a flashback experiment. We are going back to a couple of years in the past. My father has a hobby. His hobby is changing hobbies every year. And every year he gains a new fascination. It's always related to agriculture in some way or the other. So there is at least that commonality. That year, his obsession was growing bananas. Alright? Not growing bananas, growing bananas. Alright? It's all usually fine because he does his own thing. He has his own likes and dislikes. He leaves out of it. It's all fine, except this time he had the idea to involve me in it. Maybe it was a form of vindication after he saw how I was chilling my whole vacation. But some way or the other, I ended up being the target of his hobby. What was my task, you ask, right? My task was to look after an entire plantation. I wouldn't say plantation is too large a word for this. It is a small grove, but for the sake of me trying to tell you how much work I did, use the term plantation. Because I felt like a plantation worker during that summer break. My job was to look after the banana plants, which is usually fine because it's just one banana, two banana, or it's just one variety. If it's one variety, of which, by the way, anyone want to make a guess of how many banana varieties there are? 1,300. 1,071. 1,071 is not the correct answer, but I think it's not closer than the other ones. Roshni, you get the point. There was an exact number, I forgot it. Point being, each one, point being, each one of them has their own unique specifics. They have their own unique characteristics. They have their own unique way of being treated. And my father decided to plant one of every variety he could get his hands on. And it was my duty as the plantation farmer to take care of all of these plants. You'd think it's fine, right? It's not fine. I had to get dirty. I had to dig into the sand, to the silt with my bare hands because it's less harmful to the soil using your hands than using a shovel. I cannot, I cannot give you a reference of, I cannot give you any sort of scientific proof for this. Just my father's words. And you know, in a household, father's word is the law. Therefore, I dug out holes with my bare hands, got it all dirty, planted the sapling, added manure, added fertilizer, manure, which you don't really want to get your hands on. That takes a very long time to get rid of. So I planted, and then I'm like, okay, my job is basically done. All I have to do is water it every now and then. That's about it. Except my father corrects me. He tells me we have about 10 different varieties of bananas here. They range from the small bananas you get to the large Cavendish bananas, that is the Chiquita or the Dole brand bananas, you see those ones. They range from red bananas to this weird, not sure how to call it in English, there's a Malayalam word for it, it's called it handicap. Not sure how it translates into English. There is a variety of banana like that. So these are various varieties, each one requiring its own care, each one requiring its own methods. And it's my duty to learn about all of them. This is me going bananas because I had spent an entire summer trying to figure out how to care for each individual species. Now, here's a lot of things I learned. One fact you all know is that bananas are shrubs. Yes, agree? They are shrubs. Anyone who wants to conflict with that, the ghost calls. Right. Ignore the ghost. Sorry. The other main problem is the way these things are taken care of. Each one requires a different form of attention in a different time of day I need to make sure that they are watered at the right time, they are given the right nutrition correctly, and all of that. All right. And this is part of my whole crash course of a summer, which I have done growing bananas. And one of the things I learned was that bananas are berries because all shrubs have berries as well, right? Therefore, if a banana tree or banana plant is a herb, then the banana itself is a berry. And this was mind-boggling because when you think of a berry, you think something small, you think something round, you think of a strawberry, which is not a berry, but you think of it as a berry. Point being, I spent that entire summer researching the mysteries of bananas, and I came across this particular one called a blue banana, which is quite frankly an abomination. You do not want to come across the street and find yourself face to face with a blue banana. I'm telling you, you see a blue banana, run away. That is the best option you have because it is a monstrosity that should not be allowed to exist on planet Earth. This is the only other thing. The only other thing I say this line for is mosquitoes. So you should know how bad it is. Because they hype it up, people say it's such a great banana and things like that. But a blue banana is a testament of humanity's willful destruction of nature. It is something that is not meant to exist. Something that is created purely to ensure the hubris of mankind. So, if you haven't learned anything from my entire speech, it's two things. One, bananas are herbs. Second, if you come across a blue banana, run. Thank you very much. Back to the channel.
Thank you, Master Shan. That was a wonderful and as always humorous speech. And now, before we continue, we have Toastmaster Ishita who will be speaking next. Her individual evaluator being Toastmaster Sean. And his individual evaluator being me. So I guess I call myself to the stage. So Toastmaster Sean will also be doing his third part of his level 1 project 4, which is to deliver an evaluation on a speaker. The aim of this project is to deliver constructive criticism in a way that enforces the speaker to improve. And Toastmaster Sean will be taking up that project. I now invite him on stage to explain the objective of Toastmaster Ishita's Pension of Oscar. Yes.
Maybe it's stuck in here with us. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Toastmasters. I am the individual evaluator for Toastmaster Ishita's L1P3. L1P3 is a speech that is about introducing body language, vocal variety in your speech. During her speech, I will be looking for various usages of vocal variety, that is changing pitches, changing speed, basically any sort of usage of voice modulation. I will also be looking at her body language. All right, because body language can say a lot about a person's speech. And if I were doing some other random explanation while trying to explain something to you or give a speech to you, it would distract, right? So, as her individual value, my goal is to keep an eye on everything that she's doing, including her voice modulation, her body language, and making sure it aligns with her speech and giving her feedback on where she is. With that, I'd like to hand over back to the development.
All right. Now we move on to Toastmaster Ishita's speech. Toastmaster Ishita, power of comeback, turning setback into comeback. Power of comeback, turning setback into comeback. Toastmaster Ishita.
Have you ever been hit by a wall where life knocked you down so hard that it seemed impossible to get up? A wall where all your hopes, hard works, and dreams came crashing down and you were left lost, disappointed, or hopeless? Perhaps it was flunking an important test after studying for months. Perhaps it was losing a job that you believed was secure. Perhaps it was losing out on an opportunity that you had really set your mind on. We all face disappointments, right? But the question is, what do we do afterwards? Do we allow the setbacks to define us? Or do we turn them into stepping stones towards something better? Because the reality is, setback is not a full stop. It's really a comma in the narrative of our success. It is not the end of the road. It is a detour leading us towards a better road. So today, I'm going to tell you a few ways in which you can turn your setbacks into the best comebacks of your life. Step one, change the story you tell yourself. A few years back, I had a major setback. I had worked tirelessly for an opportunity I desperately wanted. I spent hours preparing, refining my skills, and giving it my all. But unfortunately, when the moment arrived, it didn't go as planned. I failed. And it wasn't just the failure that hurt, it was the self doubt that followed. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't meant for me. Or maybe should I just give up? This is what most of us do, right? When we face a setback, we start telling ourselves a negative story. But what if we change the narrative? Instead of saying, I failed, what if we said, I learned? Instead of saying, maybe I'm not good enough, what if we start telling ourselves, I'm getting better? Step two, focus on the next stage, not on the fall. For example, just think about a child learning to walk. A child falls hundreds of times before their first step. But does the child ever give up? Or does the child say, oh, maybe walking isn't for me. I should never walk again? No, right? The baby gets up again and tries again and again because they don't look at the failures the way adults do. They see it as a part of the process. Now, what if we apply the same mindset in our life? Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players, was cut from his high school team. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. But did they stop? Hell no. They took their disappointments and turned them into determination. So when I faced a setback, I actually had two choices. I could rather let the setbacks define me and just sit back, or focus on the next stage. And I decided to focus on the next step. I analyzed what went wrong. Why did this happen? I improved on my weaknesses and I made a plan to come back stronger. So next time, when there was an opportunity, I wasn't just ready. I was unstoppable. Step three in this process is use setbacks as a fuel. Pain, disappointment, failures. These aren't the things that can break you. Rather, this can be the very things that can make you. Strongest steel is forged in hottest fire. Diamonds are made under immense pressure. So your setbacks can shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Today, when I look back at my journey, I feel that my setbacks were my greatest teacher. They taught me to grow in life, to adapt, and to push myself beyond limits. They gave me the resilience I never knew I had. And that was the reason my comeback was stronger than my setback. I want you to think about a moment in life where you faced a setback. Maybe you're going through one right now. I want you to ask yourself a question. What did I learn from it? How is this preparing me for a greater experience? Instead of dwelling on the failure, use it as a fuel to come back stronger. All great success stories starts with a fail. But the question here is, do you allow the setbacks to break you or to build you? The instant you change your mindset, take actions, and utilize the setbacks into stepping stones towards something better. A setback is not the end. It's merely a detour leading you towards something better. So next time, when life knocks you down, don't get stuck there. Get up, learn, change, and return stronger than ever. Because the best comebacks always begin with the toughest setbacks. Your comeback is not yet. Your comeback awaits, and it starts today. Thank you.
That was amazing. And I would say more, but for lack of time, we move on well to the table topic session via ever vibrant Toastmaster Roshni. I do look forward to see what turning the tables and so.
Guys, first I'm going to start with the reason for this. My life has become boring. I wanted a little bit of spice, a little bit of twist, and I thought it was too devious of me to wish for some fight or some god. So I thought let's just bring it up with Toastmasters, table topics. First, I will never say no to a volunteer, so Toastmasters launched. A teacher suddenly asks you to teach the class. What do you do? What do you teach?
But let me indicate upon this question. I was asked to do this a lot. Even during the meeting, the session, the end of the what do we call that? Yes. And no, end of the term. We we organized the session in ABP. It was huge session and we celebrated it a lot. When my did not get say that. So it's my story. So whenever someone wanted someone to come out and speak, they said, first one to Siddharth, please stand up. And even as a kid, I went to many situations centers and I always put forth that. The guests are here. How many times in your class did you get a chance to speak in our yes. First. So that happens to me every day. And I don't know why. So the reason and the answer to the question is I start with the question and then I take the conversation to the topic which I'm very good. Just like I'm doing now. Generally, I take it to something astrophysical or something technological. And sometimes I just make fun of the question. That makes me little aware of what the current situation. While talking, we speak, and we realize a lot of things. And that is the most important thing that we do in these kind of situations. Even now, in this week, I was completely unaware of this question. And everyone should not phone, right? But now, yeah, this is how this thing works. And that's the thing, the topics.
I'm sorry to the guests, I didn't introduce what table topics it is. So as you must have seen, I give them an impromptu talk and you have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes language. So now would one of the guests like one your childhood enemy becomes your best friend overnight. Describe how it happened. Hello everybody, I'm Savannah. Question, my childhood enemy became my best friend overnight. Let me start with an incident. When I was younger, I absolutely hated this one girl who used to live in my mind. And we always fought over the smallest of things. And I always thought that I was the better person because I just decided to stop following her and leave the place. And she would do the same, but we don't discuss that. Um, and this is actually a true thing because that childhood enemy of mine is now my best friend. And the way that happened was because she came over my place one day with her mom. We hated each other, yes, but then our moms were best of friends. And she came to my place. We were just sitting together and she saw my bookshelf.
I had a collection of several books, and what caught her eye was the Harry Potter collection. She saw that and she decided to tell me that she liked Harry Potter too. We started discussing her mind nature. We started discussing how we loved her. We started discussing as to how we loved the antagonists. Like I, for example, love Draco. She too likes Draco for some reason. And then we just started discussing all of that. We started talking about how we liked other novels, other series. And that was a starting point to our relationship. And now we still discuss about a lot of things. And whenever we are talking, we also reminisce about how we were like the worst of enemies initially, and I think this conversation, I mean, yeah, this conversation which I had with her was the starting point as to how our relationship started. So,
So we all have that one person. Next, any other list or what? You swap lives with your sibling or best friend for a day. What's the funniest part? You swap lives with your sibling or your best friend. Explain what the funniest part.
Let's go with the friend. And I don't know why, but I think a lot of weird things happen to me in my friend's life. And he's studying in a college. And when I was checked with him, he comes up with a story that could potentially become a worthy story to produce a manga something. So I wonder, why doesn't something happen like that? If I get the choice, I would definitely become one. So the funny thing is, um, we hope that we wanna have funny things here. They have funny things in their life. But swapping with him made me understand that there are some moments in my life, which are funny too, but I didn't see them. And I think that made me realize that there are funny moments in my life, and I want to visit them. Mm.
First, that's I was thinking about this, and I think I would want my friends' ability to not need a nap in the afternoon. Okay, any other volunteers? You want to? Okay, it's Roshni. Superheroes. So a superhero loses their powers, but still saves the day. How do they do that?
So basically, superheroes are able to have symptoms for abilities, which help them to perform better than normal human beings and able to save the day, and they for the people. But when a super suddenly loses the ability, he still has instincts and other experiences which he has experienced before when he had his superpowers. So what he would do basically is to use that experiences, his instincts and different stuff to try and make the situation a little better for everybody else in the surrounding, the civilians, and all the people. But even if it's not able to do it still tries as best to do it, and I'm sure they'll even contribute even the like one person or something to the better cause. Thank you. So,
Right, so that
always give you advice, right? But now they ask you for guidance. What do you tell them? I had a feeling she was going to block me because I'm the only sponsor here. I'm just here for partner. Okay, so dad, I'm not telling my dad any advice. He's gonna find a way to get at me for it. So do not give dad advice. But mom, I'm gonna ask her to stop making tea. She makes terrible and she makes such bad tea that I only did tea for the first 17 years of my life. And then I came away to hostel and I had our best tea and I realized that it's actually not that bad. Practically. Her tea is terrible. I don't know why. I don't know if she uses too much milk or if it's just the brand of tea powder she uses, but I don't know why or what it is. It's just so bad. My dad, he pretends to like it. He's pretended to like it for the past 20 years of his life. His entire marriage, he's been telling my mom, your tea is the best. So yeah, if my mom asks me for advice, I'm telling her to not make tea. Okay. So, since we are a little low on attendance, let's take about the non-believers. You accidentally send a text to the wrong person, but it leads to something great. What happened?
Okay, now that is a very peculiar situation. And I want to vindicate myself of any wrongdoing. I had good intention to send this text to right person actually. So it so turns out that there was a Chennai workshop we were all going to attend. And us being jobless during the crisis of water that we had this previous semester, the second semester, we had nothing else to do. We decided let's go to Chennai and attend a workshop at IIT Madras. Now, when I was sending the text to my friends, I send to each one individually. And I have this one person called Joel, who is in my friend circle, but he's not in my inner row of friends. And there's always that weird moment where you're like, if you include this person, would it be rude not to? But when I intended to send the message to Pranav, I accidentally sent it to Joel. And now I'm in a dilemma because Joel has seen the message instantly. I don't know why he's always on WhatsApp. And I realized, okay, even if I delete it, there is no getting out of this. The message has been seen, the request has been sent. Social boundaries make it unable to deny his answer, which is yes, I want to come. And I say, okay, it's so happened now. We got to deal with this. Let's see what happens. We all, 8 of us, end up going on a trip to Chennai. And in the train, we're all asleep because we took the overnight train. And as soon as we reach Chennai in the morning, all shenanigans start. Randomly, we are taking share autos, we're booking cabs, and each time, Joe stepped up. He didn't sit back down and was like, you know what, can you guys do this? Can you take care of me? He organized everything. He made sure we arrived at the campus. Within the campus, whenever there was a bus, I have the habit of standing up and letting everyone else sit. He said, no, shut up, you're going to sit beside. So he was the kindest, most sweetest person ever on that trip. And that changed things for me and Joe. It made our friendship blossom. And I thank the stars that sent him that text that day. So it did turn out for the best. Thank you.
I'm so glad Toastmaster Aditya has a good experience to live because trust me, nothing good has ever come out of that for me. I want one volunteer who watches a lot of movies. It's the villain of your favorite movie switches sides. How does the story change? How many of you know Tamil here? Okay. How many of you have watched the movie Creed? Okay, then maybe I'll talk about something else. The villain. The movie. All right. Let's take Avengers Infinity War. All right.
Now the question given to me: what if Thanos did not want to eradicate half the population? And he wanted everybody to block him and everybody to have superpowers, and also everybody to reach twice the amount, so that there will be not the same amount of people but double. So Thanos, his vision was to eradicate half the population only to make everybody's life easier, and the amount of resources on each planet would be adequate and everybody would have a nice life. And also maybe have a little bit of killing sense, because yeah, he wants to banish people. But yeah, if Thanos would do the opposite and want more people on the earth, then yeah, I think we can imagine something bad happening. That should be also my question. Yes. Thank you so much for the words. I don't think there was one on it. Okay, so that will be all for today, guys. I pass on back to the general audience.
Thank you, Toastmasters. I think we can all say we thoroughly enjoyed that session, especially Toastmaster Veda's final black holes. But no Toastmaster meeting is complete without self-reflection. And so for that, we now move on to the evaluation session. I would like to start with our individual evaluators, and so I call upon Toastmaster Ishita. Toastmaster Swan to do that. So
Thank you, General Evaluator. So, in the previous meeting, I had started off by asking Toastmaster Sean to rate his speech from 1 to 2 bananas. I will not be doing that this time because I think he's gone beyond that scale. Toastmaster Sean, your speech was better than last time, I would say. Because the only main thing that I noticed was you start your script this time. So, moving on to the individual evaluation, you engage the audience effectively from the very start. So, the most important thing when you start a speech is to grab the attention of the audience, because you can have movements, you can have gestures, you can have vocal variety, you can ask a question to kind of grab the audience's attention. And I think by asking about the number of varieties of bananas, he had successfully managed to grab the audience's attention. And he managed to keep it to wow with his engaging humor, with his vocal variety. And I would say that was a job very well done. I particularly enjoyed your narration of the flashback. It felt like I was literally watching you toil as a plantation worker. That's a good vindication for all the times you have made me run around. So a very distinctive encounter, I would say. So that was a job. And as I was like praising you, the segment on blue bananas, it was very entertaining, and you had improved eye contact throughout sections of your speech. You managed to incorporate good vocal variety and gestures throughout your speech. So good job on that. Moving on to the suggestions. So the main thing that stuck to me was that you mostly stuck to your script this time, but your speech structure could have been improved a bit better. Because as soon as the timer card went up, it felt like you quickly just dropped a majority of your speech and just kind of wrap it up. Even though you managed to wrap it up a bit better, I would suggest that you try to segment your speech accordingly, because it felt like there could have been a better conclusion. Your content is good, so it would have been better if you were able to structure your speech better, so that you could highlight all your important content, all your main points, so that the audience would enjoy your speech as well. And regarding the stage usage, again, last time I suggested that you make use of the full stage. You did mildly tend to go towards the edges, but I think similarly compared to last time, as that you stuck to the front portion, because your speech had a lot of gestures and such. I think you could have used a wider area of the stage, so that you could move from this side of the audience to that side for different sections of your speech, effectively adding to the engagement of your audience in the speech. And finally, I think again back to the structure of the speech. The only thing that I would suggest is that try to structure your speech according to the content, because it felt more like a rant on bananas or mosquitoes, on the very fact that your dad made you a plantation worker for a day. And even though that is a very good rant, it is better if plantation worker. But it would have been better if you were able to structure it to fit it within the time limit of 5 to 7 minutes for a prepared speech, because you can hit all the important points and kind of give a better conclusion to your speech. So overall, very good usage of gestures, vocal variety, good content, you engage the audience well. All you have to do is next time, work on improving structure of your speech, give a better conclusion, and Toastmaster Sean, congrats on successfully completing your L1, 3, 4 part. Back to the general evaluation.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ishita. Moving on, Toastmaster Sean, it is time for you to deliver your evaluation Toastmaster Ishita's speech. Sorry. It's fine.
Toastmaster Ishita, a very excellently done speech. Congratulations on that. I'll first, as the procedure was, I'll tell you what all you did good, then what all you did good. Right. So first off, vocal variety. You had excellent voice usage. All right, your voice was calm, straight throughout. It did not stutter. It did not stutter a bit. It was amazing. All right. You use pauses very well. Every time you had used a pause, you had a scoop waiting for that, for the next word coming up, right? Because that's essentially the main point of pauses. To give a bit of gravitas, to give a bit of emphasis to the next word or the next phrase that you say. My loud enough, listen more enough. Okay. You had excellent facial expressions. So usually when people say body language, they think about moving your arms, moving your body, moving your face, things like that. Because when you're giving a speech, usually in a very larger audience, you don't really necessarily tend to notice a person's face, their facial expressions. However, I did notice that you had very excellent usage of facial expressions, and it's a very good point. Would not if you kept using that, kept doing that on other speeches. You had very good usage of eye contact. You maintained eye contact, you like communicated with every person's soul while looking at them. Excellent. Another point that I really liked about your speech was that whenever you gave a question, you gave people time to ponder upon that question. When you said think about an incident, you gave them a few moments to sort of digest the question. You sort of gave them a bit of time to understand and just think, recollect about that, which is such a great way to involve the audience. Maybe it's not like engaging the audience, like having them respond, you making sure like, you may not always be aware of if they're engaging with you correctly. But if you're experienced with your audience, if you are aware of your audience, then it's an excellent way to know that they are on the same wavelength as you. All right. Now for the things you could have improved. I felt like your range of arm motion could be improved. So range of arm, you sort of stuck to this upper half. Right? Whenever you did a gesture, you stayed within like this 190, 120 degrees, that sort of thing. Your elbows, please feel free to make wider gestures, bigger gestures, because it can help give you a lot more emphasis. You did have one usage of language. Bad language. Oh, right. Some gestures you used did not completely align with what you were trying to say. Some ones you said, maybe this wasn't meant for me, and you pointed with your fingers. That sort of like it's like it gives two differing ideas. So when you're trying to give and what you said, inadequate or correct body language or body gesture, make sure it sort of gives the same as your level. Third thing, yeah, okay. The last and final thing is more audience interaction, meaning audience response, so that you're also aware that the audience is listening to you, is aware. With that, congratulations on completing L1 page.
Now that Toastmaster Sean has given his individual evaluation, I will now evaluate Toastmaster Sean's evaluation. No, it's very example. How we do it in order. So, Toastmaster Sean, to reiterate, Toastmaster Sean's purpose of this project was to deliver a constructive evaluation for Toastmaster Ishita. So, first of all, I will say, well done. I think that was a very constructive evaluation. Congratulations on completing your level 1 4 and your level 1 by effect. Congratulations, Sean. There are a few things I would like to point out. I like that you reassured Toastmaster Ishita by congratulating her first, showing that despite things, areas of improvement exist, there are still things she did really well, and so she performed the objective of her project perfectly. You started with a positive response. It's a great way to start. Instead of encourage the speaker saying, you have done this right. And I like the way you did that. Now, when you are speaking to a crowd, the general rule of thumb is project a bit extra. it's safer to err on the side of loudness than to have one not hear. So asking someone they can't hear in an evaluation, so it takes them out of the evaluation. So I'd like to focus on that. I like that you clarified what sort of body language you will ask. When you said the arms should, you start with this general area, but these degrees, or I would say general area is a better word there. You clarified saying that, okay, this is the body language I want you to focus on. Not that you had confusing body language, but these particular gestures or this particular area, try improving yourself, enriching yourself with greater freedom. You have the stage. One thing I would like to point out as to your own body language is you stood right here, which terrifies me because I think you're going to fall off stage. So, on Toastmaster Shila's point, use the stage a bit more freely. Have your feet planted on solid ground. And I love the phrase you used, soul speaking lines, which I did not think of, but I think is a wonderful way to describe Toastmaster Shila's attention that she gives each individual person in the audience. And the way you recognize that she gave us a few seconds for each idea to sort of seep in. Also, what is this? Oh, yes. You address her audience interaction, which I liked because you drew the line between audience engagement and interaction. We were hanging on to every word of Toastmaster Shah, but she did not ask that question. And I like that you drew that distinction because if she only had done so, it would have enriched her speech. One final comment on the way you delivered your evaluation. If you could just add a single or a few positive notes at the end of your evaluation, I think it would sit a lot better with this. And that is all else. Right? Congratulations on completing your level 1. Back to the general evaluator, which is me. So, okay, now that we have finished the individual evaluations, I would like to call upon my beloved tag team to deliver their reports, starting with our time Toastmaster here.
For today's timer report, we began with the fast speech session. Toastmaster Sean took 7 minutes 18 seconds. Toastmaster Ishita, you took 5 minutes 28 seconds. For the table topic session, Toastmaster Sudash, you took 2 minutes 8 seconds. Guest Sahana, you took 1 minute 55 seconds. Guest Vikas, you took 1 minute 10 seconds. Guest Rishi, you took 40 seconds. Toastmaster Harshita, you took 1 minute 4 seconds. Toastmaster Aditya, you took 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And Toastmaster Veda took 1 minute 13 seconds. For the individual evaluators, Toastmaster Ishita took 3 minutes 20 seconds. Toastmaster Sean took 3 minutes 18 seconds. And Toastmaster Aditya, you took 2 minutes 50 seconds. Stop. And I read the timer. I did not show the red cards. Right?
Yes,
Yeah. So 2 minutes 50 seconds. That's all. Back to the general evaluator.
All right, simply moving on to our counter Toastmasters question.
Good evening, everyone. I am Roshni. I don't know why I'm introducing myself again. As I had hoped for, there were a lot of except for now, there were a lot of fillers today. So Toastmaster Aditya Singha, you had 2 Ers. Toastmaster Ishita, over the course of the meeting, you had 6 Ers and 1 and, I think. Toastmaster Ishita Prabhudesa had 2 so's and 2 ands, being very nitpicky, speaking very fluid. Toastmaster Sean, you had 9 and R's assorted throughout your speech and your evaluation session. You also had 8 alternates and 3 rights. Toastmaster Aditya Samit, you had 1 2 so's and 1 and. Toastmaster Roshni, during her table topic session, I wasn't able to find a lot of filler words or any. Same with Toastmaster Sudash. Yes, Hana had 1 and 1 which is very good. Yes, Vikas also really good, just 2 and 2 ands. Yes, Rishi, 2 so's and 1 like. Toastmaster Harshita, 1 okay so. Toastmaster Veda, I wasn't able to write down the number of syllables because I was reeling from the shock of what we had uttered on stage. But I was able, once I recovered, I was able to note down 3 R's, 1 also, and 1 yeah. Thank you for your time with that. I'd like to pass over.
Thank you, Dr. Marcus. Do this. I think it will use. And last but certainly not least, Toastmaster Nadella. I would like to vindicate myself on word of the day like
So, hi everyone, and back with the grammarian report for the day. I must say, overall, I didn't get a lot of the expected flamboyant uses of grammar. Let's say we did not err on the side of grammar and all. Shout out to a few of the good uses here. Especially Toastmaster Sean's rant on blue bananas and having to work as a plantation worker scale. I like the phrase testament of humanity's willful destruction. Road focus. And Toastmaster Ishita's setback is really a detour. Nice reminder to everybody. And overall, I must say it was a very motivational speech. And now to the area of improvements. Target of my hobby. No, again, grammatically correct. Could have been victim of my hobby. And right nutrition should have been right nutrition. And moving further, hard work should have been hard work. Setbacks as a fuel should have been setback as fuel. And struck me should have been struck me. And general rule of thumb. No, again, it's grammatically correct, but it's easier just to say rule of thumb. Rule of thumb. Overall, I almost forgot about the word of the day. Toastmaster Sean, Toastmaster Sudhamsh, and Toastmaster Aditya, and Toastmaster Ishita use the word of the day vindication. So shout out to them. And yeah, I'm done with the word for the day.
Half hours and records 13 hours and 2 answers. Oh, okay.
The grammairian does get away with the alcohol. Now coming to the last final session, well, part of this is my. I have been observing this entire meeting, so I think it's only right I get to speak up. So let's start from the start. A very good. So start 4:58. I was a little disappointed. I expected to begin at 4:50. 8 minutes is not acceptable. Hopefully, we'll start at next time. Our president with her due diligence with her introduction and then the guest intro very well done. The tag team, very well done. You kept it prompt, short, and informed of the rules. Very well done. Our prepared speaker session. Toastmaster short. I love the way you went into storytelling this time. Usually your approach is to find the punchline and go for it. Here you took us on a journey. You made us feel like we were right next to you at that plantation working alongside you. Worried about why can't you use a shovel and why do you have to do that? I love that you changed up your approach this time. It really worked. And I realized you didn't have as much time, but I feel like if you could shorten up the speech, it would be brilliant. Very well done. Toastmaster Ishta. I felt like I was at your TEDx talk. It is not an offensive, it was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was how you delivered a motivational speech. You would make it relatable. You wouldn't condescend to someone. You'd make them feel like you went through what they did. And you know how painful it is. And it's not just the failure, it's self-doubt also. And yet, you have to somehow find the courage to get out of that. And I love the way you put it. Thank you for that. Coming to our table topic session, it was very well conducted. Thank you, Toastmaster Roshni. It was very well done. I would like to thank my entire team for all they have done. They were very prompt evaluations. And as a whole, thank all of you, all the guests, all the Toastmasters. You've been a very lovely audience. We have somehow managed to get back on track with time, despite having started earlier. So, round of applause for all of them. Now, I must surrender my role as general evaluator. So, I pass that control to our presiding officer, Toastmaster.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So I hope you are had fun for the meeting. Now we'll be moving on to the voting part of our meeting. The Sergeant at Arms has circulated a poll in the WhatsApp group to the members. You'll be passed the phone with the link for the voting form. Please do take a minute so that you can vote for your favorite speaker, your favorite role player, and while we wait on the results. Could we get some feedback for today's meeting, starting with the guests? Any guests? Feedback? All right, I guess Sahana. Changing her. All right, fine. So a couple of announcements for all of you. So first of all, we will be proceeding with the payments for the renewals, and we will be attempting to complete them within the first half of March. To all the guests, if you would like to be converted to a member for our club, please do approach our treasurer or our VPM, Toastmaster Master Roshni, who's a VPM, and our treasurer, Toastmaster Tim. They will be able to help you with the onboarding process for memberships. And also, we had a newsletter event. Our club's sixth edition of the annual newsletter was recently publicized, and I will all take some time to go through it. The editorial team has been working really hard on it, and it's a really fun and really good newsletter. I feel they've managed to edit really well. There's a bunch of articles from a lot of familiar faces, so do take some time to check that out. And finally, the club contest is on March 8th, 10:30 to 30 Anugraha Hall, AB3. So to all the members who've not voted yet in the participation or the role player polls, please do take a minute, vote in the same. I will be dropping a reminder message. So please do ensure that you vote. The participation poll will be closed tomorrow by around 12 p.m. And the role players poll will be closed today. So please do ensure that you help us in organizing and conducting a very successful club contest. And we are waiting on the results. How many people are pending? 3 more people to vote. Is there anyone remaining to vote? Have you voted? All right, cool. To the members, how was today's meeting? Because guest Sahana did not give feedback.
So body language and facial language.
All right, oh, interesting. All right. Oh, short, those was a short sentence. Congrats on completing your level.
Everyone, really perfect. Please.
Two things people who missed my last speech. What happened at the end of my speech was basically I came back and sometimes my dad started on the class session started taking up. I think nobody wanted. That was the past. Yeah, genuinely someone he came up on the house. Like I said, that's obviously
Interesting.
the second thing the reason why people answer so that you know.
No,
Don't put it out. Don't because they go, why you see.
all right, the third and the agricultural club meeting. We have the friends with us. All right. Oh, you're not going to please. Good to know that you not just like the earthworms.
I like this meeting with more goals.
Yeah,
Some people hate earthworms. They hate earthworms.
there are some.
People eat earthworms, yeah.
Yeah, almost it.
There are some that this guy. You could.
Yeah.
All right, we have all the
We all are
responses.
the one uncle in the family.
So good. All right, moving on to the results announcement. The best prepared speaker for today goes to Toastmaster Ishita. The best individual evaluator goes to Toastmaster Aditya. The best speaker goes to. It is a tie between Toastmaster Harshita and Toastmaster Sudhamsh. Congratulations. The best role player goes to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Aditya. And the best auxiliary role player goes to our accountant for the day, Toastmaster Subhash. Congrats to all the winners and participants of meeting 335. With that, I would like to adjourn our meeting for the day. Thank you all for coming. Let's quickly take a group photo and after that we can put it out like pretend.